a department that would do things such as collect data and conduct investigations around things such as this. Among those requests were the number of voucher students in each grade level and at each school, and the percentage of each school's revenue that came from the program. Neither the department nor the administrator provided the information, saying the enrollment data could identify students in the program and they had no information on a school's source of revenue. Their responses strongly suggested schools participating in the program relied largely or solely on voucher students for their existence and could not attract other students based on quality. So I urge you to vote yes. In addition to that, there was an attempt to debunk what I was talking about. I just want to make sure that we clarify so we all on the same page. We are talking about federal.
A Republican thought they could corner Jasmine Crockett in a debate about education, but Crockett dismantled their arguments point by point. From exposing voucher program failures to calling out GOP hypocrisy on race and poverty, Crockett proved who's really fighting for America's children. Defeats takes you inside this fiery exchange and breaks down the facts you need to know.
I yield to the ranking member, or the remainder of my time to the ranking member.
Thank you so much. I want to first of all say thank you to Congressman Frost again for this important amendment, which I strongly support. We should all be deeply concerned about voucher mills, which profit off students without delivering results. Voucher programs can be abused, and Democrats have historically worked to investigate. In 2019 and 2020, Democrats sent the Department of Education and the program's administrator a request for information about the program and each participating school. Now, I want to pause right here, because the gentle lady from North Carolina specifically said, give me examples, I want information, I want data. I just want to be clear. The Democrats have been trying to make sure that we could be responsible about taxpayer dollars and dig into this. But I specifically mentioned the Department of Education. Do y'all know what the Republicans want to do to the Department of Education? They put the wrestling lady over it, number one. And then she said that her job is to shut it down. So they started gutting it from within. And I've not heard anything from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle about how devastating that would be for our children to gut the Department of Education, a department that would do things such as collect data and conduct investigations around things such as this. Among those requests were the number of voucher students in each grade level and at each school, and the percentage of each school's revenue that came from the program. Neither the department nor the administrator provided the information, saying the enrollment data could identify students in the program and they had no information on a school's source of revenue. Their responses strongly suggested schools participating in the program relied largely or solely on voucher students for their existence and could not attract other students based on quality. So I urge you to vote yes. In addition to that, there was an attempt to debunk what I was talking about. I just want to make sure that we clarify so we all on the same page. We are talking about federal funding because we are on the federal level. This is the U.S. House. And when we look at the federal appropriations, what they are proposing as it relates to SOAR is that there be approximately $24,000 per OSP student. So $30 million for OSP, $10 million for DC public schools, and $20 million for DC public charter schools. Those are the numbers, undeniably. That is what would be in our appropriations. And with that, I will yield.
Chile's back. Chair recognizes Mr. Higgins from Louisiana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield my time to Ms. Fox.
I thank Mr. Higgins. You know, our colleagues want to continue the Department of Education, which has done an abysmal job since it came into existence, unfortunately, as a bribe, again, to the unions to put it in existence. So yesterday, a report came out. The National Assessment of Educational Progress, NAEP, offered a grim outlook Tuesday for 8th and 12th grade students. Scores dropped to the lowest in decades for reading and math score among high school seniors, along with declines in 8th grade science. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter this into the record if I could. It's an article that it's in the Hill, but it was in, I think, every major paper. We've spent trillions of dollars through the Department of Education since its existence, and here's what was reported yesterday. In math, 45% of high school seniors scored below basic, the lowest since 2005. In reading, 32% in the exam taken last year scored below basic, the lowest since the exam began in 1992. And our friends want to keep the union schools in existence and deny the opportunity for students, particularly in D.C. and other places that we've had. It's devastating what's happening in the, quote, public schools. In 2023, NAEP found only 14% of students were reading for fun every day, with experts calling it a crisis. The scores, we aren't getting any return on the money that's being spent in the public schools in terms of high quality among our students. And yet here in Washington, we're trying to help almost all minority students. 95% are minority. They're trapped in low-performing schools. And through the opportunity scholarships, they have the opportunity to choose a high-performing school. And our colleagues want to deny them that. It's unfathomable that they want to do that. The best thing we could do in this country, we are in a race with China, India, and other countries who want to be first in the world, and particularly China. They want to take us over. And what are they doing? Focusing on helping students develop skills. And we're focusing on pouring money down a rat hole in terms of what we're spending for education. We are not helping our students. This amendment needs to be defeated. All the amendments that are going to come up need to be defeated. And I yield back, and I thank my colleague from Louisiana for yielding. I yield back my time to him.
Gentlelady yields back.
I yield, Mr. Chairman.
And before I yield to the next person, we never did accept the Hill report without objection. So ordered for the record. Any other members seek recognition? Ms. Crockett.
Thank you so much. I just want to clarify, because I don't want the American people to watch this and be confused. When it comes to education, we typically don't have this big government view on things such as K through 12. When we're talking about our public schools, we're talking about our K through 12 students. There typically is a school board that is locally elected. So whether or not they are implementing certain programs or not, that's usually based upon whatever that local school board wants to do. Those local school boards are contained within states. Those states have different rules about what tests they want students to take or not. So there's state law, there is local law, and
welcome back to Defeats, the channel where we cut through the noise and bring you the real truth behind what's happening in Washington. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss one of these breakdowns. Trust me, you don't want to miss what we've got lined up. Now, let's set the stage. In Congress, a Republican thought they could score political points by challenging Jasmine Crockett to a debate on education funding. But here's the thing about Crockett. She doesn't just show up to debate. She shows up armed with facts, history, and a sharp edge that exposes hypocrisy. And in this exchange, she shut it all down. First, Crockett reminded everyone what's at stake. Voucher programs, or as she calls them, voucher mills, are draining taxpayer money without accountability. These are schools that profit off federal dollars while failing students, especially vulnerable students. Democrats have been trying for years to get answers. Back in 2019 and 2020, they sent requests to the Department of Education asking for data. How many students are in these programs? How much revenue comes from taxpayer-funded vouchers? The response? Stonewalling. Excuses. No transparency.
Why?
Because Republicans have been trying to dismantle the very Department of Education that's supposed to collect that data. Crockett didn't hold back, pointing out how Republicans put someone in charge who literally said her goal was to shut it down. That's not leadership, that's sabotage. Then she broke down the numbers in plain terms: $30 million for private voucher schools, $10 million for D.C. public schools, and $20 million for D.C. public charters. That's $24,000 per voucher student, while public schools, the schools that serve the majority of working families, get the short end of the stick. So when Republicans cry about fiscal responsibility, remember where the money's actually going. Republican Representative Virginia Foxx fired back with a classic GOP talking point: the Department of Education has failed. She cited national test scores showing declines in reading, math, and science. She painted public schools as a bottomless pit of wasted money. And she claimed vouchers are the salvation for minority students trapped in low-performing schools. Sounds compelling, until you look at the full picture. And that's where Crockett came in swinging. She reminded the American people that local school boards, not the Department of Education, decide curriculum, testing, and day-to-day policies. The federal role is about equal access, civil rights protections, and making sure federal aid actually reaches students who need it most. She put it bluntly: without the Department of Education, students with disabilities, students living in poverty, and students from marginalized communities would be left behind. The department is the leveler, the safeguard, the agency that makes sure states and districts don't discriminate or deny opportunity. Republicans want to gut that? What does that say about their priorities? And then came the knockout. Crockett asked the question Republicans couldn't answer. If you care so much about poor Black kids in D.C., what else have you done for poor Black communities in this country? Where's your record? Where's your legislation to reduce poverty and over-policing or support historically Black colleges? The silence was deafening. Because the truth is, Republicans only bring up minority kids when it suits their narrative. She went further, reminding everyone that private schools can pick and choose who they admit. Under this administration, diversity scholarships are under attack. Federal policies threaten HBCUs, institutions that have been lifelines for Black students for generations. So when Republicans pretend to be champions of Black children in D.C., Crockett called it exactly what it is: political theater. This wasn't just about one amendment or one debate. This was about exposing the hypocrisy of a party that's willing to dismantle public education, strip protections from vulnerable students, and weaponize poor Black children as pawns in a game they never intend to win. Jasmine Crockett made it crystal clear: Democrats are fighting to protect equal access, accountability, and opportunity for all students. Republicans are pushing policies that weaken oversight, empower private profiteers, and leave communities of color behind. And when put head-to-head, the facts crushed the talking points. So yes, a Republican tried to debate Crockett. But what happened instead was a masterclass in truth-telling. She didn't just win the argument. She exposed the entire strategy of her opponents for what it really is: an attack on fairness, on accountability, and on the future of our kids. If you're tired of the spin, tired of the grandstanding, and want more breakdowns like